Welcome to WagerTalk TV. I'm Scott Spreitzer, and he's Matthew Holt, VP of CG Technology Sportsbooks in Las Vegas. We're talking UFC on Fox 23 this Saturday night in Denver. Main event features the original Women's Ultimate Fighter winner, Julianna Pena, who's taking on Valentina Shevchenko. And we'll get to that in a moment, Matt, but I understand at CGT Sportsbooks, there's another fight that's getting all the betting action besides this top-of-the-ticket match.
Yeah, not surprising. That Donald Cowboy Cerrone versus Jorge Masvidal, twice as much money, twice as much handle on that fight as the main event. Not a big surprise, as Cowboy Cerrone has turned himself into quite the draw now in the UFC, especially since he's won 12 of his last 14 fights. Only 2 losses coming against Raphael dos Anjos, the former lightweight champion in that time. Look, Cerrone, we started to get a lot of Cerrone money early. We opened 150, got as high as 65. We're going to go to 70. And what we've seen since is we're getting a lot of sharp buyback on Jorge Masvidal. This is a fight where we're actually getting great two-way action on, where normally we always end up being one-sided to Cowboy Cerrone. And stylistically, it's a great matchup where you could see either fighter winning. They both prefer to stand up. They're both great with their feet and their punches. I think that Cerrone may have a slight advantage in his submission game, although Masvidal is supposed to be great on the ground. We just haven't seen it as much as we have seen with Cerrone, his ability to finish once he hurts a fighter, finish him with submissions as well. But this is a really entertaining fight that's getting great two-way action.
I think this has got a really good chance to be a candidate for Fight of the Year if everything plays out as it is on paper heading into Saturday night. Cerrone's the 5th-ranked welterweight. We know his trademark: kick the other guy's legs, kick the heck out of the other guy's legs, and then, of course, the fluid sweeps. If he's able to do this, what does Masvidal have to do to counter and win?
Well, first of all, Masvidal is one of the best counter punchers in all of MMA. I mean, he's proved it over and over again. And the one thing both of these fighters have in common is they were both at 155, had some struggles at 155, both moved up in weight, and have actually both undefeated at 170 pounds. So both of these guys have actually benefited from not making those big dramatic weight cuts. And they both look big, strong, long, lean welterweights who have reach advantages still over most 170 pounders. This is a really interesting fight. I think if it stays standing, it's almost dead even. To your point, they both match each other with leg kicks. They're both great counter punchers. Cerrone might have a little bit more power as shown by the amount of knockouts he's gotten. I think if you're Jorge Masvidal, you have to keep this fight standing though, because once they go to the ground, Donald Cerrone is one of the best finishers with submissions on the ground in all of the UFC.
Budweiser's and cowboy hats.
That's right.
Do you like him in this fight, or is your money looking at Masvidal in this one?
Originally, I thought, well, this line's going to creep too high. I thought it would get as high as 185. I said at that price, I'd probably have to take Masvidal. But if this line stays at 150 or less, hey, I'm going to keep riding the Cowboy.
Co-main event, top of the ticket, is Shevchenko taking on Peña. Last check, Shevchenko was about a $1.30 favorite. That was a couple of hours before we started shooting videos at your joint, CGT Books. She's the #1 ranked bantamweight, talking about Shevchenko. I love the way she retreated, pulled Holly Holm in, and then beat the crap out of her face from chin to the top of her forehead, winning that fight. And I thought she fought Amanda Nunes pretty well. I mean, Amanda Nunes was kicking her sideways, had her on the ground, was pounding the crap out of her face. And unlike Ronda Rousey, Shevchenko toughed it out, came back, and almost won that fight.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that fight, those performances are probably why Shevchenko is getting so much money right now. This is a classic grappler versus striker matchup. The problem for Julianna Pena is she was a really hot commodity when Ronda Rousey was in her prime. And coming off that, she won that tough women's show.
Right.
And a lot of people thought, wow, this is the biggest threat to Ronda Rousey. And then she got hurt. She was out of action for a while. And she was out of action so long that they had so many developed contenders at that point that she sort of got lost in the shuffle, and she's had to fight her way back up. But this is the most devastating ground tactician in all of women's MMA, Julianna Pena. And on Shevchenko, on the other side, one of the best kickboxers in MMA. We saw what she did to Holly Holm, who's a very talented former professional boxer. So the problem here is going to be that same classer versus striker matchup. Can Julianna Pena get Shevchenko to the ground? And if she can, she's probably very likely to win. And if she can't, Shevchenko is probably likely to pick her apart from distance. But stylistically, it's a great matchup. Look, I opened this fight Pena minus 120, and all the Shevchenko money has come in because she has the wins over Holly Holm and the very close fight with champion Amanda Nunes. But make no mistake about it, if Julianna Pena gets this fight to the ground, she's not only a live dog, she will dominate this fight on the ground.
So you're going to take the underdog here?
I absolutely love the underdog here. I opened her as the favorite. Yeah. And, you know, the betting public, for good reason, Shevchenko's had the highlight reel performances.
Yeah, they know who she is.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, great stuff. Matt Holt says Cerrone and Pena, a nice 1-2 punch. to steal a little bit of a pun there. But I tell you what, we got $10 off any purchase this weekend. All you got to do is use the code Kansas10. Again, $10 off any purchase this weekend at WagerTalk.com. Use the code Kansas10. For Matt, I'm Scott. Still more to come. Stick around. We're WagerTalk TV.